Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice and Third Reich events. We're going to see if we can get a few more days done this time. Okay, I did a few trades to improve relations and help out some of my allies here. Argentina was mostly, hopefully for a future ally. Okay, good. We won that battle. And we won the battle for Johannesburg. Okay, they're not going to win. Get the blue division in there, a few others. Okay, deal with that in just a second. Okay, the 78th Storm Division, part of the Becker series. Oh no, this is different. Okay, oh, I think I know. Ski Regiment ready to deploy. Okay. Oh no, okay, here, it's, Battle Commando Becker, 21st Panzer Division, Armored Fighting Vehicle Conversions. Yes. We want that. Führer Bunker. That looks like the Reich's chancellery there. The Führer Bunker was an air raid shelter located, okay, yes. Part of the subterranean bunker complex, which was constructed in 2 major phases. Part 1 in 36 and the other in 43. Hitler took up residence in the Führer Bunker on the 16th January 45 and became the epicenter of Nazi regime in the last weeks. That's very true, very correct, and very important to note. I know I've talked about it before, but from a few comments of a few people here, either they are sort of new to the series and jumped into it not early on, or they've, I think, forgotten a little bit about what I've talked about in earlier episodes. When Hitler became Chancellor of Germany and Hindenburg was alive, basically Monday through Friday, he went to his office in Berlin. Did whatever work, probably mostly meetings, there. Promptly on the death of Hindenburg, basically, I'm sure before, if there was a party rally or other whatever event, he was traveling around Germany. Once Hindenburg dies and he becomes the German leader, unites the Chancellor's position with the presidency and has the German army swear loyalty to him, he promptly stops going to the office. He basically, they build the new Reich chancellery, which we talk about in events there. That is purely set up or used as a meeting event place for foreign ambassadors or other heads of state coming in for various diplomatic things. I think like the Reich Marshal baton handing out, or Reich Marshal for Goering, but they're greeting all the marshals, the army and the others at the end of the Battle of France. They're pictured there, and several other events that I can just tell from the pictures, the photos, that it was done at the Reich Chancellery. But basically, he no longer abandons that. He moves the seat of government out here to Berchtesgaden, and out here is where he basically stays out here unless he's traveling to an event. Like I say, if he needs to meet have a meeting with the ambassador or representative from Slovakia or something, he'll travel to Berlin to do that. Though sometimes, like some of the famous pictures you see, you can sort of, this is a side angle, walking up the like Chamberlain walking up the steps here, unless they're meeting here in Berchtesgaden. So he basically abandons, as a general working office, Berlin. This, and we've also talked about this, access to Hitler was a very important thing, and this really sort of sets up this government by conflict, government by keeping overlapping responsibilities, so no one agency or group is in charge of really any one thing. Though there are a few exceptions, but even there, throughout this whole period, you have the Luftwaffe under Goering, and I don't know right offhand. Trying to remember. Um, the NSFK, the National Socialist Flieger Corps. Um, I don't know if that is part of. I don't think it's part of Goering's empire, but it's sort of a shadow party air force, if you will. It's more of a training organization, and there were a bunch of officers that had membership in both, the Luftwaffe and the NSFK. But so constantly with this divided thing, and like I say, the NSFK did a lot of training for the Hitler Youth, and that's sort of what a lot of the posters and a lot of stuff talks about. But it's not just that; it's dealing with much more than that as well, and so that continues. And so he's constantly doing that, but it's sort of remote access kind of thing that he keeps up. Now, the one thing that does, which has there's an Obergeneral on the Black Ice Forum, was talking about how Hitler thought he was a good general and hated or distrusted at least the German High Command, and how if he just stayed out of it, they probably would have won the war. Well, I don't know that they would have won the war, but the one thing he did do was move to his very wolf's layers, if you will, different commands, particularly when things were getting a bit ugly in certain regions. So in even that, he was still staying away from Berlin, that he was shifting around to different commands, different theaters. Early on, Battle of France, it was mainly just sort of overseeing and keeping up to date with military affairs. And as things were going well, like the invasion of Russia, when the first really part of Barbarossa, when that's happening, he does get involved with some of the big decision: do we push on to Moscow or do we do the big encirclement? And during the pause there, he was sort of involved in that decision making and sort of keeping it, listening to one group of generals and then the other group and going back and forth and of vacillating on what to do. But mostly he was staying out of command decisions. Once they started losing and the generals wanted to retreat is when he started putting down his foot and started taking more and more, tactical would be the wrong term, but operational level, but definitely strategic level, where the divisions are going. He was really much more planning and interfering with actions at that time. And mentioning that, we have the national decision there is down at the bottom of that Hitler's stand fast order that we could trigger if we want to. I don't want to. I looked at that. It doesn't look good. The defense event below it, just below Case Anton there, would be all right, but I don't think we need it. Has some negatives, but as well as positives. But I don't think we need it, so I'm not going to trigger it. So he basically stays away from Berlin through Hitler's career, either at the various military headquarters or at Berchtesgaden. Other than special rallies and anniversaries and whatever that he had come to Berlin for. So, but obviously by 1943 there were various bombings in Berlin, and you needed a safe place for him. Okay, until February, 2 ICs, we'll lose. Okay, we'll build it. I don't want to take the negative hit. Plus, he can have his fancy bunker. Expand air bases. Money, supplies. Once I'm going to say no. Okay. The U.S. has decided the U.S. war machine kicks into high gear. Okay. So they got, they're going to get a lot of bonuses now for production. As you can say, massive mobilization of the women's workforce. So the U.S. is going to become even more of a threat. Potentially so much in production sense that they're going to have to go into a lot of, at least I've seen this in other playthroughs, I don't know how it's handled here, run out of manpower and go into producing other things like more factories or more ships or something like that. Okay. The U.S. lost to Lexington. Don't know where that happened. It'd be cool if they gave up like a province ID number on some of that. I don't think we can, but I do have the one submarine unit out here doing some operations. Just started now. They made it out to Hawaii. Hopefully be able to sink some stuff. Got doing a little bit of stuff out here. Messing with them. And more ICs are coming available for us. This is, I think, various effects like the railways and whatever that we were building would come off. As you can see, it's slightly different than the previous episode or earlier because we come back from a slight replay. Well, we're building a bunch of these. It's not enough, but it's a bunch of them, and they're not going to be ready for some time. So I don't want to just how many days? 46 days, 152 days, 190 days. Let's build a couple of these to help with the practicals. Well, let's build 4 of them. I want to help with the practicals and getting some of these other heavies built, which that should help with. Okay. Don't know if I pointed out in an earlier episode or not. You can see this air base here. 38 fighters down here, plus a few other aircraft. They killed some of my naval air operations in this area. We had built a few more, haven't deployed them, a few more naval air, but I think we're going to produce a couple of more flying boats. Dorman Voss. And a couple of more naval bombers. Condor there, it looks like, or something. No, I think it's a heavier thing. No, it's still a Condor, but it's a later model. Okay. Build a few of those. Those were the other ones we built, as well as these, you know, are sort of meant to go, you know, South Africa, or we have a few operating down here. But we're being cautious with. Okay. Now, finally made it. We're going to turn this into add the Croatian Legion to the naval infantry there. We're going to leave them there. They're going to move up to here. They're going to transport that over to there. that we hold. Okay, yeah, we lost. Yeah, they can have metal. We're sending a... They're slowly walking away. We're sending these guys down as quickly as we can. Oh, they could do some good. Some of these other ones we're still fighting, that we're probably going to win. And we're winning there. Going to take Johannesburg eventually here. Okay. More of the Becker conversions, SP rocket artillery. Yes, we want those. Fighters, stop that. I shifted more leadership over to Intel. Okay. We need to build a few more of those. I want to build 4 of these. We've been taking losses on the Eastern Front. Get some as escorts for there. So we can improve the prototypes there. And what type of production units will these be? These are the 110 F2s. Okay. Okay, we won there. Good. Got that. We're flying in supplies here to hopefully win, but we're in there. We got some supplies flying around. Yeah. I don't know if we're ever going to get the... Waiting something's in this. If we're ever going to get supplies out here enough to go on the offensive again. Okay, good. We got them. And Vichy, yes, you can have energy. Schnell Division West. Okay, another one of these. I've read all these at one point. They're all very interesting. Didn't realize until and one of the things I really liked about the series of events, it's well done, well researched, and I quite honestly really didn't know about Becker. I knew about various, the Lorraine tractors that they're French military tracked munition carriers that the Germans, mounted anti-tank guns on, mounted some of the artillery pieces on, and various things. They used them for a bunch of things. Knew about the weapons, but didn't quite get the association. Yeah, we'll deal with the units. Okay, support our allies. This is a help or an event from my foreign aid and air bases mod. This will allow us to send some supplies. We will also lose some supplies because we'll build anti-aircraft guns, air base in Haifa. No, not Riyadh. Somewhere here, so that we could support if we wish to or not. We're going to go for it just because we may need to send aircraft down there. Looks like they're airborne, doing something towards us. Whatever. This deep winter snow is really helping us, apparently. Oh, we lost there. Therefore, hold the province with them. We'll see. And we won in Delhi. No to the Italians. What do the Spanish want? Metal? Yes, you may have as much metal as you like. No, we're not. Oh, I hope we lost it. Oh, maybe we'll retake that against the disorganized forces. Well, we would like to retake that. Yeah, let's strike here through the snow. I know it's snowing, but oh, that was a good shape. Support the attack. Okay, Fahrzeuge und Motorenwerk, FAMO, which I've heard of before. Factory, 2 types of Caterpillar tractors were manufactured for the construction industry and for forestry and agriculture. Production included tractors and diesel engines for stationary use and for shipbuilding, but 1937 was part of the preparations for war. A department of the special vehicles were created during the war years. FAMO produced the Wasp at Breslau and Warsaw factories, also involved in production of the Marder too. Okay, for those of you who don't know by the terms there, the Wasp was, I presume that's equivalent to the English bug wasp, or maybe something else, was a 105 millimeter artillery piece mounted on a Panzer II chassis. The Marder II, there was a sort of conversion version, but the basic Marder II was a also there was, like I say, a conversion version, sort of a high funky looking version, but most of them were purpose built. They were also built on a Panzer II chassis that had a Pak 40 to 75 millimeter anti-tank gun. So I don't know if this factory, though it doesn't say here, whether it also produced the Panzer II or not. This is basically what happened throughout the war. The only, to my knowledge, the only basic tank drive chassis that was stopped produced, and they even built a few prototypes of a wacky Panzer I that had like 50 millimeters or 90 millimeters of armor and 2 machine guns on it. And it was, what's the point? You know, it just, well, it's up armoring a Panzer I to be able to deal with T-34 shot being fired at. Stupid. I don't know what the hell they were thinking of even building the prototype for. Because you know, we're not even talking a Panzer II or anything else. Because the Panzer I particularly, but also the Panzer II, but the Panzer I primarily was a pre-war training tank that ended up going to war, but was not really designed to go to war, so it should have been stopped. So that was the only basic version that I know of a tank type that was stopped production. All the rest kept in production during the war. The 38T from Czechoslovakia becomes, they convert most of the tanks and then start production line running with the Marder 3s and the Grills, I guess that's how you would say it, or whatever. They have a 105 millimeter infantry gun on them. Start out, like, again, for those conversions into purpose-built productions. They sort of changed the tank chassis around and basically removed most all the armor because they weren't planning on trying to do the armor race with more and more powerful guns, but just set them up as tank killers. And that goes on for a while, and then they convert over to the Hetzer, which if you know about it, it's a real low profile, pretty good tank killer, but that's on the 38T chassis. Panzer II, the Martyr II and the Wasp is in production. Basically, more or less to the end of the war. They did work out some prototypes of a really good 105 millimeter gun. Well, on the Wasp, you had slight degree of a firing arc on it. Otherwise, you had to shift the whole vehicle to change firing direction. Not that hard, but not the best design. They set up a 105 millimeter artillery piece. Prototypes were made to go onto a Panzer IV hull that would allow it, 360 artillery swinging around. But also, it was sort of unique in my understanding of mobile artillery, and wouldn't be built today because there's one serious sort of flaw to it. But it was designed to, and had a sort of a rack thing that would elevate on the tank that would remove the gun and the whole gun shield turret. So it's an open type turret, but a thin gun turret, stop shell fragments, and to plant it onto the ground for a fairly low profile artillery piece to be operated on the ground, because I think they believe that it was for sustained fire, it was easier to keep the ammunition flowing to the guns and that kind of thing, as opposed to having it mounted or on the tank. But with modern counter battery fire, we do the shoot and scoot kind of thing, and not keep in one place, and you can't really do that if you take it off. But it was each mobile artillery thing was designed to have this somewhat automated deployment thing. Sort of odd, but I think it worked, but they just never got to producing it because they needed to produce tanks more. But so they were able to keep these other chassis in production, and engines and all this other stuff, because they found useful things to do with them as the war went on. The Panzer III, as it more and more lost out, the enemy needed you needed a more powerful gun to penetrate the enemy's armor, and you needed a more armor on it, that they eventually stopped producing. I think it was the N model with they finally put on the short-barreled early Panzer IV 75mm gun on the last version. They stopped production of that and moved basically to either producing the Hummel and the Nashorn. The Hummel is the 150mm artillery piece, and the Nashorn is a really high velocity, higher than the normal pack 36 88mm gun on it, and both of those are in low armor level, but based on a it's actually sort of a mix between a Panzer III and Panzer IV whole design, sort of odd. But the main thing they converted the Panzer IIIs were into the Stug 3s. So that's basically the drivetrain of a Panzer III up armored and remove the turret and turn it into the Stug as that. So they kept all those basically in production. Now, this is really good in the sense that you have a factory like the Fumo factory here, producing engines and producing track segments and all of that, going on, and you don't have to take the time to convert the factory to different production. And they're looking at, I think, more or less based on what happened in Germany for Hearts of Iron 4 with their, I know it's in the development diary, that when you change models of the factories, it hurts the production rate. But if you just change things minor, like producing a Wasp instead of a Panzer II, it's not that big of an interruption to production. And that's very much what happened in Germany with these things. The downside is you have lots and lots of different models of engines and transmissions and tracks and road wheels, that it becomes a logistics nightmare to handle all the stuff. As we are seeing out here, it's a logistics nightmare. So you know, they were eventually going to stop these productions, like I was telling you about, and going to produce, a Panzer IV based artillery piece. But things just got so bad that they never did that, and obviously they lost the war. So eventually these were going to be stopped, but they never got to the point of stopping it. So, but we want the tank factory in Breslau, and the anti-aircraft guns are. Don't think they need to do that. Always throw us an anti-aircraft gun to protect this Breslau. Yeah, we already have 3. We don't need to go to the expense of going to 5. But that helped us. Okay. So we've got enough going on. I think we have enough. Well, yeah, let's build a few more fighters. Build some more fighters. 109 G2s. Okay. Turkey wants to trade. In the metal? Okay. We don't mind better relations with Turkey. And Venezuela. Okay, we'll give you supplies. And we can produce even more stuff. As you can sort of tell, we're less than 1,000 right now because of various things, and sort of what I'm building is low manpower. I'm going to build some more good divisions, but maybe now is the time. Is not the time. I don't know. Now we got all those tank factories. Those are nice. They make building easier. But I want to build a go past it. Probably did. I want to do I'm not seeing mechanized infantry attachment. I believe it's here. There's the regular. I'm a little manpower worried. Oh, there it is. What's that? Let's go with it. Okay, that doesn't slow them down. We'll go with that. Let's go to the divisional headquarters and track transport. And what else? Okay, we want to do armored engineers. This is. Let's see how much. 36. Not very great in penetration. But it's going to be hard hitting with all those rocket and medium. Yeah, I think we'll go for that. And there'll be a bunch of ICs. And Hungary is offering us trade agreement. We give them energy for money. Yes, we'll do that. Good, we're retaking the province. Striking them there. Weak. Okay, Iran is mobilizing, good. Right now I'm waiting for them to get their army, their act together here. So that, well, we don't need to be over here. I know there's a pocket. I'm going to try to take that pocket out with one of these guys. Specifically so that they won't think they need to guard this front. And we'll move everything over here to face the Soviets. Okay, destroyer engines have advanced. That helps a lot of our little small boats. I know we're building a bunch, but we're going to build more as time goes on as well. They're cheap and they help them build better stuff. Destroyers. Oh good, we've retaken the province. Now what we need to do is, let's see here. Okay, we've got to make sure we're flying in supplies. We're waiting, so they must be had been flying somewhere else. We're waiting as well. Can they make it up to here? No, I can't even make it to. Can't even make it to there. Well, we have a few long-range transports over here somewhere. Well, they're flying at the moment, but oh no, they're coming right here. That's good. Yeah, we'll let that go. Okay, salt concentration has advanced. One. Yeah, we're going too far ahead on that. Oh, we lost where? Oh, okay. We lost here. Not these guys. Well, divisional commander. Darjeeling, the T, yes. Okay. We need to put a new commander. This guy, he got pulled out for an event. Given HQ, or unit, I'm sure. Any particular resources around here? Okay, it's the terrain. Does it make a little movement? I know, but I think he's going to win. Okay. Aid Persia. Well, as you can see, they're not very well advanced. See, they don't even have an air base. This is, I forget what country that prodded me into doing this, but this is definitely one of the things with no air bases. I thought, well, you know, can't even like give them good air support. So I think one of the games I was playing, they came into the Axis. I go, yeah, good. Let's put a, get them on there. And then they got swamped because I couldn't send them any. You know, I was nowhere near the theater at the time. I was, still messing about in here. I couldn't even send them air power. So give them some supplies, some fuel, plus the cost of air bases, few anti-aircraft guns, and a pillbox just so that they can hold their capital. a little better if anybody gets that far, to keep them from being knocked out of the war. Okay, we're going to stop this. It isn't happening right now. Oh, good. We broke them on us. And I'm just a little too weak to want to attack. I think they're retreating out, but which we hope they will. How are we doing on surrender progress? Let's see. We are at 86.7. We're doing strategic bombing. I'm just not normally pointing out. See, right in there or something. Okay, artillery unit combined arms. We can let that go. We like that tech. Okay, we can build more. We have a few factories. We're going to see how well these help us once we get them, so I'm not building a bunch of those. Might be a very good idea too, but okay, I think we're going to do. Just one of those, I think, right now. We'll keep bombing out here. Okay, they're attacking us. Fine. Oh, this. We retreated back into there. Yeah. If I can get supplies, I'll be ready to charge out when the season change, but uh-oh. Yugoslavia's acting up. Go get them. Okay. There we yeah, because we don't have any freaking organization. We don't have enough supplies. I sent my, here they are, my Russian Legion from Yugoslavia out here to help. And you can see we're getting this area more and more under control, and we are mostly green except for the swamps there and along the border here, which I don't move many supplies. It should be Yugoslavian or Romanian anyways. Okay, yes, we'll give them supplies for money. And we'll give them supplies for money. Wherever we consistently have supplies, we are doing well. Cargo hold advance. That is great. That'll increase our supply capacity. Though it does reduce our range, so maybe a few places won't be able to happen anymore. National recruiting policy, that'll help our manpower. Now, I just don't want all those militia units. I just don't have a need for them, so we're not gonna go. We already got all the SA around, so we're gonna go with this. I don't need the elite because I'm already doing pretty good. But national manpower by 25%. So that's what we're gonna do. Uh-oh. We had one shatter. Okay. Let's move them down. Stop their attacks cold. Move them a little more filler. These guys were on the defensive and they got hit a little too hard. Okay, now. Well, yeah, I want them to move there. Guys need to attach it to. That'll be fine. Yeah, I tried attacking there and I think broke up. But there's enough other forces there to keep that from crumbling. Don't want to lose that victory points. Okay, allows construction of a nuclear reactor. So, no bids here. And artillery unit command and control. Yeah, we'll let that go. Should we build a nuclear reactor, guys? No, not in Berlin. Let's do it up in Peenemünde here. We have a rocket center. We can test the bombs out at sea or on Bornholm or someplace like that. How much is that going to cost us? Okay. 49 IC until July. No. I'm not building a nuclear reactor at this time. Maybe later. But not at this time. Okay, which? Oh, here. Counterattacking? And how will that go? Maybe not well. We even had anti-partisan forces in there, and they still revolted. Oh, and how are these guys doing? Oh, finally, okay. Not paying close enough attention. They've failed to move in enough reinforcements, and I don't know why. So it looks like just the original scripted. They got all this junk down here. You can see all these here, big long thing, mechanized forces in there, infantry tanks. My guess is, and maybe it's why they didn't move it into, they sent that in before, is why we're seeing so few kills here, and 0. I don't think I think these are Americans sending Lend-Lease or supplying into here. I think we've choked out Britain's supply system. They even have midget. They even brought midget subs over here. It's probably an event for the submarines that they're going after. The ship. I'm blanking on the name. Oh well, once I blank on it, I don't know. I know it, the whole thing. It's Tirpitz. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Tirpitz. There we go. See, I know what I'm talking about. Sort of, kind of, maybe. But we're gonna overrun them, and there. See, there. Look at that. We're going after this. I thought I should have waited to get these guys there because I thought I was gonna have a fight with some good units, but they don't have any supply. Which tells me these guys don't have any supply. So we're going to, once we clean up this mess here, we're going to use some of these forces, go down in Vichy French territory and see if we can do an airborne invasion. Reason you want to do an airborne invasion, because I believe if I come across here, it'll become Vichy territory, which in and of itself isn't bad, because I don't really need, I don't think there's any real resources here. There isn't here. There is oil here, but maybe not then. They may have not known about it until the post-war period. But I won't be. If I take it as Germany, if I do like a para-landing into, well, maybe into here, and then move in. Once I take the port, I can send supplies as Germany. Whether I decide to finally send supplies around this way, or well, so if they hold, we can't. I don't think we can trace supply. Well, maybe they have no supply here. Maybe we should see about getting Gibraltar. That's interesting. But either way, try to run supplies out the Mediterranean and around. Or not, I don't know. Okay. One there. Get this out of place. And one there. Direct unit fire. Command control. Alright. And a lot more. Okay. Well, we're going to build just 2 of these. So we're using them effectively in Russia, but I could use some more. I think right now they're recouping. And let's do 2 medium bombers as well. Well, since they're doing so good, let's drive into there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Victory Hex province? No, but I still don't like it. So it means that we're just looking at that one province there. So hold this. Too narrow, don't like that. I just had more supplies. You guys need to be air intercept. Okay, well, you should be supplying somebody. Okay, well, I'm going to end the episode here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. Do appreciate it. Also, again, please post comments. Love hearing from you. See you next time.